the LiT summer specials. This second episode of the LiT summer special. Deuces. And we will be talking about The Godfather. Differently from
the movie.
The movie.
We will not be talking about any person in particular.
We don't know a Godfather.
We don't.
No. We don't. Anyways, so the trick with these episodes is they're spoiler conversations. So if you haven't seen the movie, I highly recommend you turn off the video.
I have not seen the movie. I cannot turn off the video, and therefore my life is about to be ruined.
No.
Okay, so disclaimer, Rachel told me to say and explain that I don't mind spoilers at all.
And why is that, Ruth?
Knowledge is power. I don't know, honestly.
Wow. Yeah. But Ruth and I have very different brains.
You're telling me.
I have to know that thing I have to not know that thing in order to properly enjoy the film. There's something not it's not necessary, but there is a level of participation in the story that I enjoy. Whereas that you just don't do stories that way at all. Yeah. No. I don't even know what to do with that.
I mean, it's a key part of being able to succeed in grade tests.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
To be able to do something again and see something wonderful in it still.
Oh, no. I do it again. Sometimes. Like, I rewatch
just said it's ruined.
Oh, well, no, not if you've had that first, your initial impressions of something. Like, I feel like initial impressions are really good.
And I put, like, so little credit in initial impressions. So much. Especially with people. The first time you meet someone, so much. You don't know where they're coming from. Just the fiasco they may have walked out of. Like, yeah. I don't know.
That being said, this is a spoiler review. And this movie was so good in some ways that I highly suggest you just come back to this video after you watch the movie.
Yeah, so what are we going to talk about this movie that everyone's seen already?
Well, yeah, let's get started. First, I want to say the opening scene.
What have we been doing if we haven't started?
Flopping around, sister.
Like a fish. Sorry.
The opening scene of this film is so iconic that I don't think I've ever heard a conversation beyond that about anything after that first scene. Like, I've heard snippets of conversation, but it was such a, spoilers. The wedding. It opens with a wedding sequence.
It's the opposite of a tragedy.
Well...
I mean a comedy.
Wait,
it's just lefts and rights. They get flipped.
They get flipped all the time. Okay, so it opens with this wedding, and it's got, periodically people coming to see The Godfather to ask things. Mm-hmm. And that's the whole... And there's, like, super iconic lines, like, "You come to me on my daughter's birthday." Like that.
Zootopia just ripped off in a really alarming way.
No, that's the joke. There's possums.
It was hilarious.
It's wonderful. Awesome. They don't say that.
But like, just comparing the two.
Yeah, you see clearly it's a genre thing.
I have not seen the movie, but it has been thoroughly spoiled for me by various
I want to know what you know.
No.
Please.
No.
Please.
I can't do that. I cannot produce information. It's always, like, cued by things. I can't just list stuff. I'm sorry.
You don't, like, when I said wedding. Oh, wedding. That's the Italian, little bit of Italian. Okay. Nothing comes to mind. I'm wondering what you're thinking about.
No images.
Okay. Well, just to say, just beyond that opening sequence, the film, and the first maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes of the movie, maybe it's 20 minutes of the movie, I had my expectations of what was going to happen were just obliterated.
Was there a scene with a blue car?
I don't remember. I don't think there's a blue car. Well, there are several cars.
Like a pale blue car.
I'm never sitting in the front seat of a car ever again. Bro, the number of people who get done off that way! Oh my gosh! It's way too high. Way too high. I just think I'm not gonna risk it. It's really... Yeah, and the thing is, you tell them to be the driver, because drivers feel like they're in control, you know?
You're making some of my professor's comments make more sense now. If I say them out loud, people who know this person would know. And so I'm not going to do that. Anyway. It was quite a, never going to ride in the front seat of the car again. With strangers, or even the family. No. But, so, in the first, like, it's like in the 20 to 30 minute, 25 minute mark, then it's a over 2.5 hour long movie, Ruth, the Godfather gets shot 5 times in the back. Yeah. I did know that.
Why does no one, the thing is, I must have been avoiding spoilers or something, because this is huge. The movie suddenly...
Does it happen early on?
So early!
Yeah. I think that's maybe wise, because it's just like, that was catastrophic. We're moving on, because there's so much more to talk about.
Well, yeah, apparently. But Ruth, it just sidetracked the whole film into what... From what I thought the movie was going to be like. And and Joseph, our brother, too, we were both thought there was going to be more of the Godfather in it. And like, it was gonna be a movie about the Godfather.
See, that point was a key part of one of the classes I took.
That it wasn't?
Yeah. Not like, it came up as like an illustration.
Yeah. It was just not about the Godfather in the same way. Like, it is about the Godfather.
Yeah.
And what's so weird is that the movie, the way that you trace the film, you follow Michael, you know? The movie was so unpredictable. I'll tell you who Michael is in a second. The movie, I watched it with Joseph, our brother, and my mom, who you can hear in a previous podcast talking about Charade, and we just had no idea what was going to happen. Like, because the characters, and they just kept doing things that it could have gone either way. It could have happened in either side would have worked. And it was, but by the end of the movie, like, the final scene is him, he kneels and he, like, kisses the ring, of Michael, the younger son, not the youngest, maybe the youngest son. I actually think he had maybe 3 sons. I remember him talking about 3 sons, and he has a daughter, that poor daughter. Ugh. It's so sad. Anyways, so 3 sons, and, you know, Michael starts out...
I don't want to watch this movie.
You don't, Ruth. You wouldn't like this movie at all. So, Michael starts by not being a part of the family, and by the end of the movie, he's the Godfather.
Yeah.
And
spoiler!
And when we got to the end of the movie, I was like, oh, this is where we were going. But I had no idea that is what the film was gonna do.
Yeah.
I just couldn't tell.
Meanwhile, I didn't know his name was Michael.
Mike. Good old Mike.
I'm thinking of a couple Michaels in my life.
Oh. So Michael, and it just, the character transformation of Michael, wow. Okay then. The character transformation of Michael was really intense. Because my favorite scene in the whole film takes place in a hospital. Just after the Godfather's been shot. And everybody's left the building. And Michael comes in and he, you know, he saves the day. Because the police took everyone away and left him exposed, and he's the only one who shows up, and he hasn't been in the family. He doesn't know what he's doing, so he gets his dad into a different room, and then he pretends to have a gun, and he's in his pockets with one of their friends randomly shows up, and he's like, come with me, we're gonna stand on the front. If you want to pay back my father, we're gonna stand on the front, we're gonna pretend. So they pretend to have guns, and the guys who were coming to assassinate him see them and go away. And, I mean, Michael, it was really great. It was really, really good. And the whole scene, the lighting and the tension was really high and really well done. And it's so weird because that character, Michael, he seems great in that scene. And he is kind of great.
Yeah.
And then by the end, it's weird because there's just The Godfather. I don't know if I was supposed to like The Godfather at the beginning, but I kind of did. Just, maybe it's because he was sort of like had this grandpa vibe, you know? He's intense, and, you know, but I thought he would give you a square deal. He would come.
Yeah.
There's just a kind of level of, I don't want to ruin everybody's life. I want to figure out how to make this great for everybody.
Are you an easily manipulated person?
Oh, probably. Rude. I don't know. He just gave off different vibes than the Michael at the end.
Yeah.
At the end, he lies to his wife about what he's doing, and I just don't think that The Godfather would have done that. I also think The Godfather's wife would have never asked. We meet her, and she's kind of lovely. Additionally, things that I thought going into this film, okay, like the plot was going to be about the old man, and it's not. It's about a change of power.
Yeah.
It's totally different. The horse head. There's a horse head in a bed. In this,
yeah!
And it's so classic.
What's that about?
Okay. You know,
I only know it exists.
Right. Right? You know, it's like a stereotype. You know, like they'll intimidate you by putting a horse head in a bed.
That went over my head.
Oh, I think...
Get it?
Oh! It just... Well, the problem with the thing is, it's like, it is horrifying to wake up with a horse head in your bed. But the character, it's more than that. The character says the Godfather's come to him with something, and he's been told, you know, we'd like you to do this, for us, and he says no. But before he does that, he gives them a tour of the whole place, and he shows them this prize horse that is $600,000, which he was gonna not even race. And that's the horse head that ends up in his bed.
It was already disposable?
No, as in the horse. It was no. He was gonna use the horse.
I'm trying to figure out the message.
Oh, it's just be afraid. If we do this to a horse, imagine what we do to anything else you love. Like he spent this much money.
Whose horse is it?
The guy they're intimidating.
Oh, okay, so not the Godfather's horse.
That's correct.
Oh, okay. See, that made way more sense.
I'm so glad. Sorry. Yeah. It was very weird. Because then it turned the matter away from, like, just pure intimidation to, like, financial loss in a way that was really intense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't like that.
Additionally, sort of random thoughts about the plot. The people, like the family, doesn't live in a mansion. I always thought that the Godfather's family lived in like a mansion kind of thing.
I assumed they lived in like a backstreet New York apartment.
Not that either.
Okay.
They live in the country. Basically, it feels like a British manor. The inside looks and feels also like, so the whole set is very dark, shaded dark, but it looks like the house from Home Alone. With the stairs?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was my feel for that house. I was like, this is just a scarier house from Home Alone.
Wait. Like the first Home Alone?
That's a good question. Yes.
Where it's just like a regular suburban house. Why British Manor?
Well, the outside is British Manor.
Oh.
And the darkness on the inside gives it that vibe, but the general layout of the house felt like the house from Home Alone.
Okay, that's really different than I thought was going on.
Oh, sorry. It has a brick wall. And...
Uh-huh.
Yeah, just fun facts. Brick wall.
Thank you for my brick wall fact.
Yeah. This is a Christmas movie, Ruth?
The Godfather? Not
Yeah.
Home Alone?
Yeah.
I mean, Home Alone
is
is
it
a
a Christmas movie? That's a good
Yes.
question.
It is.
Well, yeah.
They wrote specific new Christmas music for Home Alone. Like, it was
I know.
specifically engineered.
I know you're talking about Home Alone. I was talking about The Godfather. I
Yeah,
made
but
a
I don't want
note-
to talk about The Godfather.
I made a note that it was a Christmas movie, and then I realized it's not.
It's not?
No.
It's not at Christmas?
Some of it is set at Christmas, but it doesn't just
It's a
take
Christmas
place.
movie.
Because some of it's at
It's a
Christmas.
Christmas movie.
Okie dokie.
No,
That
I
sounds
don't know. How else can I push buttons?
Just one little buttons.
Who's got the button?
Oh wow. One other thing, so if you remember from our last episode, we had we had 3 sections.
You've chucked those sections, haven't you?
The information for this film came in a very different format for me. I did have some...
Today's sections are...
I did have some, like, just thoughts at the end. Like, general, bizarre thoughts. Not bizarre. They would go what we called the philosophical thoughts last time, but I still call them just sort of Rachel thoughts. Things that the movie made me think about. We'll continue with what I call plot thoughts for now.
Continuing. Plot thoughts.
Michael, the guy, he takes revenge.
Sorry.
Who is that? Michael? That's right. He takes revenge on it's not revenge, it's justice. It isn't justice though.
When you say it like that, it's called revenge.
Yeah.
Translation.
I just had a thought.
What was your thought?
Okay, my thought is about there's a line. I was gonna say this at the end. There's a line. I'll say it at the end. No, but after he
Good talk.
takes out, Michael participates in an assassination plot and then has to flee the country. He flees to Sicily. He has to separate from his girlfriend for a while because his girlfriend's in America and he wants to keep her safe. So he separates and goes to Sicily, where he meets and marries a woman. This woman, tragically, gets blown up. Okay?
Is this a movie about marriage?
A little bit. Yeah. There's a lot of spousal conversations that go on. Because here's the thing. Then, after this incident, he gets allowed to come back to America.
To the States?
Back to New York. And as he comes back, and then he marries the other woman.
Okay.
Who he first saw.
Does she ever know?
I don't know, man.
Okay.
He's married twice in this movie, and it just was so bizarre to me. Because actually, when he sees this lady who he hasn't seen in something like 6 years or something bizarre, his like speech for like, I wish we could have been together, is weak. It's more of it's a very alarming conversation about.
Really?
Oh yeah, I would think there would be any degree of, oh, I missed you. And it is that, but that doesn't come until the very end of his speech. And it's more kind of desperate and related to meeting her for, I don't know, political sanity. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you why this happens.
Sex?
No, I don't think so.
Sometimes that goes over your head.
Oh, and
Just checking.
I don't think that was the case.
Yeah.
it was
Weird.
It was just really bizarre to me. I just didn't think he'd get married twice. Twice?
There's 2 Godfathers.
In the film?
Yeah. So I think it makes sense that there's 2 marriages at least.
For Michael, and then one
Yeah.
for his sister at the beginning.
Yeah. That makes 3.
Makes 3 marriages. Yeah.
I don't know what that means. I'm just saying stuff now.
Oh, good.
Contribute, she said. Be part of the movie, she said. This isn't a movie. What is this?
It is a movie.
What was that?
A part of the great plot. Anyway,
No.
it is significant. I think I traced it having to do with his sister's life. It begins with his sister's wedding and ends with, again, if you haven't left because of spoilers yet, you're gonna just have to take it. Because Michael murders his sister's husband.
Yes.
But
I mean, that's bad. Don't do that.
And there's like a baptism and stuff, like it's all together.
Yeah.
And they...
Why do I sound happy?
The 3 of us couldn't decide, the 3 of us who were watching couldn't decide if it was a, what's the word?
Abomination.
Oh no, if they were moving to Nevada or not at the end of the film.
The word?
Maybe it isn't Nevada.
What do you
Where's
mean?
Las Vegas? Nevada, yeah. Because they're thinking about moving the family to Las Vegas. I have to see the other 2 films. You know, there's two other parts to The Godfather.
I didn't.
Yeah,
I did.
I need to see them because I want to know if they were planning to go to Nevada. I missed something. I missed something, Ruth, and I need the film to explain it to me.
That's your only motivation for watching the other 2 films?
It's a major motivation for me personally. It was really tragic. The movie was really tragic to just participate in.
I think your warning sign would have been the wedding at the beginning.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, well, because of tragedies
Yeah.
not ending with, yeah. I don't know. It was such a good beginning. It felt so
Yeah.
good and bizarre, also
Uh-huh.
horrifying.
Yeah.
But, you know, also at the beginning, just so you know, the Godfather has this cat, and he's like petting the cat, and I really liked that. I was like, look at him and his kitty.
Cats have the potential for evil.
You of all people, Ruth.
Which means they have the potential for real good.
Okay. What? You've taken a side, have you? Huh?
No, I haven't.
No.
I just said that.
Wow. Okay then.
I need to not do that to you anymore.
I'll be fine.
I'm sorry.
Everything will be fine. So there's 2 things. Now we'll go into the sort of philosophical thoughts, but I don't think they're philosophical thoughts. I think they're just thoughts. First one, yes?
Question. What is my role here?
You are the audience once again. What would the audience like to hear?
I feel like a chaos monster.
You do. You do feel a bit like a chaos, but that's good. Continue with the chaos for just a little bit.
Having a hard time today. Sorry, keep going.
Justice.
I wasn't ready.
Oh, the justice is eye for eye justice. It's clearly stated in the introducing scene that.
But there's no accounting for, not metanoia, mimesis, and the escalating properties of human nature.
You know, yeah, like Beowulf. Yeah. Where
it doesn't just stay eye for eye. It's like, I'm gonna do, because of pain you inflicted upon me, in order for you to feel the same pain, I can't just remove your eye like you removed mine. I also have to stomp on your foot.
Yeah.
And that's not justice.
No, it isn't.
Humans are really bad at justice.
Okay, but that's the thing. is that when the Godfather gets shot, that's the realization I had. And they go and they kill these two guys.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't justice.
Mm-hmm.
It's business. He's like, because there's this distinction between business.
What is business?
And personal. He's like, if I took it I'm not taking it personal.
Mm-hmm.
It's business. That's what they do. And that's why they have to kill this guy, is for business reasons.
Which isn't justice.
It's not justice. Yeah.
Why isn't it justice?
Well, according to this definition of justice, eye for eye, right?
Mm-hmm.
Theoretically, they would have just had to kill the one guy, or like shoot him or something and hope he survived.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. There are better ways of doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But business dictates eliminate.
Yeah, that's what they needed to do, apparently.
Hmm.
Additionally, the character of the Godfather himself. And this was a bizarre thought to me.
Which one?
The first one.
Okay.
Because in the opening scene, a man comes to him and he says, I need your help. My daughter has been beaten up. I want you to go kill these guys. And that's where the conversation about justice happens. But then he says, the Godfather says, that I cannot do. He's like, we're not even friends. You never invited me to your house. I'm your godfather's, I'm your daughter's godfather, and I never came over, you know? And he's like, you call me Don Corleone, and you don't, yeah, and you don't even call me the Godfather, you know? He's like, so, why should I do this for you? You know, they have a conversation, they work it out. But it was really odd. But there
Does this appeal to you? Are you an honor-loving soul?
I am an honor-loving soul. All the way. But no! There's this he wants this friendship component, but you know, also the fear component in his relationships. I need
classic sign of a manipulator.
I need you to
possibly a narcissistic personality.
Oh, good to know.
Keep going.
I need you to pull me off the ledge here, Ruth, in my grasping to understand the character of God.
Could you repeat the first half of your disclaimer there, or whatever you were saying?
Oh, I just need you to pull me off the ledge.
Oh, I need to pull you. Okay, yeah. I'm like, what was my instruction?
Because
went completely through one ear and out the other.
I don't think that God is like the Godfather, but here's the problem. I have been thinking about how there is this need to be specific about the kinds of relationship, the kind of relationship you have with God, because we often just say, like, we have a relationship, but then you don't ever, if you don't categorize the kind of relationship, it can lead to misunderstanding. For example, for a while, I had sort of forgotten about the friendship of God. But he is our friend. So there's this component. But then he's also, you know, God, creator of the universe.
The Lord.
Fear the Lord, folks.
It depends on what you think fear is.
Oh, yeah.
As opposed to terror.
Right.
It's connected to, I don't have a good definition, but I know it's connected to that which directs your life. Because you kind of, fear is often visceral and has the power to, what you're afraid of has the power to direct your life. So it's almost like analogous, a sort of analogy, like,
yeah,
I know it's not the same as an analogy, but fear of God is, let be God something that you're almost compelled to respond to.
Like, fear of running into a door keeps me from running into the door, so I open the door to go through it.
Yeah. Sort of. Or more like, fear of insects means I start screaming and running about the room and trying to murder it. I witnessed this recently. And it was a profound fear of insects. And And I thought, you know, maybe fear of the Lord means that you're so glad you can't help singing sometimes.
Okay. Well,
it's not a perfect thing, but
yeah, we're not going to solve the problems here today. But it was just a thought that there is this.
Where's the ledge? Because I'm gonna jump off it.
In the Godfather's dynamic with the people he's with, there is this friendship that he tries to cultivate. You know, it could see that's the thing. It could just be a lie.
Yeah,
the lie of friendship.
Yeah.
Or this idea that, you know, like he has this.
The difference between hypocrisy and being genuine, right?
I think he is genuine. He does, like, he plays with his grandchildren in a really sweet way. Actually, it's the saddest scene in the whole film. The saddest by far, to me personally.
Oh.
I actually didn't cry in this movie at all. My family, my siblings and I, no. Oh my gosh. Joseph and Mom and me, we actually accidentally had to laugh at one part because we just did not see it coming. We're all nervous, compulsive laughers, and it just, like, the corner happened, and we were like, what are we watching? What? Why is this happening? What is going on? Also, his voice just gets worse and worse, like, throughout the whole film.
Yeah.
It's really fascinating. Yeah, so that was just a thought about the Godfather's, the way that he exists with the people around him, you know, this distinction between friendship and fear, and how they both work together.
They're connected.
But I preferred your conversation about
it's
fear.
It's more like, I think that representation of, like, friendship and fear, I have to have both, is a warping of how actual friendship works.
Yeah.
In that I am afraid to do something that would hurt my friend, even. Like, is different than, I am afraid of my friend. Like, I think it's that sort of distinction.
Okay.
That's supposed to be.
Okay.
Like, you are supposed to be afraid of doing something wrong to your friend.
Yeah.
And in that sense, you have a fear of your friend. It's connected to your friend. I don't know if this is legitimate theology or not. But
or even just friendship dynamic analysis.
Yeah, but, like, I want to do what is more than fear. I want to do what is good for my friend.
Yeah.
And I often don't do that, and it's the bane of my existence.
Oh, sister.
Anyway.
Yeah. So, in conclusion, we don't think that the Godfather is like God.
I think it's a warping.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
They're not dissimilar, but for the purposes of comparison.
I think we're gonna probably talk about this in later film situations. Like the understanding of friendship and that component I can imagine discussing again.
Yeah.
And this is sort of the final thought I had. Not the finalist thought, but just a thought. A final plopping of things. I don't like that. Narcotics.
What?
This movie, The Godfather.
Which one?
The first, the main one.
Okay.
Again, because Michael is a baffling figure. Oh my goodness. I can't. Anyways, the thing that he's fighting, getting into New York, he resists. He doesn't want drugs to get into New York. That's one of his big things. Is he has a big council meeting with lots of heads of houses, and he says, you know, I've never denied you access to my political powers, you know, except that one time with the drugs. And then he actually earlier in the film he had another conversation piece that the younger people were trying to persuade him this is where the money was going, and he says, I'm not interested. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to me because he does draw this. The thing about they're in illegal business all the time. The thing about drugs is that it can affect the very people who are trying to do the job for you in a higher capacity, I think, than say gambling, which they're also doing. Although, of course, not to mitigate the power of gambling is a bad thing. But it's just, it spreads so much faster, drugs do, and they and actually it was interesting. The Godfather says, these other things that we do, the church is forbidden, but they didn't forbid drugs. There's just the dynamic between the things that they're. I was just thinking this is. I know. Like,
no, I mean, what? I mean, could you explain again?
Oh, so for example, gambling.
No, the church has forbidden what?
These other things that we do in the city,
but they haven't forbidden drugs.
It's just there's no explicit reprimand of drugs. In what was it, 1950s New York churches, apparently.
Has the church said anything since?
It's well, insofar as you shouldn't let things control your life that aren't God. I think there's this understanding on that respect. I don't think there are doctrines around this. No. Around narcotics. Yeah. I can double check probably sometime in the future. But yeah.
Interesting.
I know.
Where was that talk going though?
Well, I
feel like I completely derailed you.
Well, he's fighting against this changing city.
Yeah.
And then the new is coming in and the old is going, and there's this new kind of thing that's I don't know. He has this line that he doesn't want to cross and he doesn't want to hurt people with, and he just sees its potential for badness. I just think that's an interesting trait in him. When everyone else his under people, they're sort of like, well, we could go either way,
Yeah.
He has got this idea about business. Just because it's gonna make you money doesn't mean it's gonna be a good idea. I don't know. Yeah, it's a weird note to end on.
I wonder if it's just his perspective from overseeing so many things. He can see fairly easily the long-term effects, how things play out. He knows how that would play out, because if this is just the game he plays, he knows the rules, he knows how this is gonna go.
Yeah.
And you introduce that, murder for everybody, it's over.
And I will be honest, this is the last thought. The symbol on the front of the Godfather is a puppeteer. It's a marionette strings. And I think it's interesting that I've not heard conversations about that in dialogues about the Godfather, this sort of the marionette component. And when he's talking to Michael, he's like, Michael, I never wanted you to pull the strings, to be the guy.
Yeah.
And that is such a fascinating, it's just this one guy, doing the
yeah.
Puppetry. There once was a man with a yodeling coat.
We were doing so great.
Sorry.
I even pulled it together.
You did. You did a really good job.
What happened?
Well, I just was thinking of the marionettes, of course. But they needed okay, but the thing about a show, a yodeling show. Think of how many children there are in the Von Trapp family.
How many are there? There's Liesel and Frederick, and there's 2 boys, right? And then there's the 3 younger girls and the oldest girls.
There's a younger boy too.
Oh, there's 2 older boys.
No.
There's 2 older boys and then a younger boy.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's 3 boys. And 4 girls?
Are their 2 oldest boys? Is it 8?
So it's either 6 or 7.
Is it 8 children for an octave? Do, a dear, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. I'm willing to say that there's 7 children and Maria makes 8. That's how they sing so wonderfully together in the film.
Okay.
Anyways, there are lots of children doing marionettes.
Yeah.
And so you can't have a real performance without more marionette people. Although our dad does talk about that time he saw the guy do the single man performance of the Book of Job.
That was different.
He recited
and suffered in other ways.
He recited the Book of Job and changed costumes on stage, like organically. Anyway.
Our father shared this information after Rachel told him about some of her own performances involving a similar feat.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Anyways, often good performances require multiple marionettes if you're a marionette performance. So you need, and that's what's so interesting about there's this council, there's the 5 families, you've got multiple people doing things, pulling strings. Theoretically, the Godfather himself was more in charge. He had more power. His strings were longer and larger. But maybe not.
What?
Maybe, as the marionettes do their little dances, it's just a game. It's not just a game. People died, Ruth! People died! What's happening? It galls me that he thinks it's just a game. Because people died.
Maybe you just don't take games seriously enough.
Me?
Yeah.
I don't play games. I do play games.
On that dark note.
All that is to say, be careful whether you're seeing things as a game.
I didn't get any message about game.
I didn't either.
Where are you pulling this from?
Solely the marionette.
It's not a game.
They'll play? What is that? What is the marionette thing? What is a marionette show but a game?
Big performance.
A performance.
Oh. Performance.
Oh.
Yeah. It's all an act.
And really, he's a nice old man.
No.
Oh.
No, he's very twisted.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Ta-da!
Very twisted, but struggling. But he has this thing he's supposed to control. So he can't be himself. It's stuck to him.
That's why he wanted Mike to not get involved. It's rough. It was a sad movie.
Yeah.
And visually fascinating. It's funny because I'm not an acclaimed movie commentator, so I'm sure much of the things I've been saying have been said by some other people sometimes. But we hope you enjoyed listening to us chat about The Godfather. Just a little chat. Just a little chat about The Godfather.
What?
These will continue probably these conversations as we talk in our normal podcast, which comes out on Fridays.
This is our weird podcast.
Yeah, our normal podcast is called Lost in Theaters, and it airs on Fridays. It talks about movies that have slipped through the cracks of pop culture. This is our summer special.
I don't know what this is.
Where we talk about canonical films that have formed the shape of our minds. No, that hasn't.
The shape of pop culture.
The shape of pop that the movies slip through the cracks of. This last week we did a movie called The Pickle Recipe. So if you want to hear what that movie was about, check us out on Spotify. Oh, it was
although similar, like Clan vibe. I haven't seen it.
Again,
I haven't seen either of the
Ruth
movies.
doesn't really watch movies. It's just me.
They just really hurt me.
Oh, sister.
Movies. Sister. I enjoy them. Often.
Well,
Not
thank
because
you.
They hurt.
Oh, no, of course. Anyways,
Sorry.
Thank you so much for watching. We hope that you enjoyed it. Okay,